Well, last night was a really, really fun game. We'll start with that. There's a lot to get to today, as I mentioned, but we will start with Nets Bucks last night, which was an incredible game. Just a basketball showcase. And I'm really looking forward to these playoffs because we're going to get a lot of games like this because of the parity in the NBA this year. But 120-119 win by the Bucks in overtime. It was the Giannis show last night. Just an unstoppable force, unbelievable performance by him. 44 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and had an incredible moment during the game to tie it up. Just brilliance. Brilliance out of Giannis last night. It was back and forth all game, obviously went to overtime, and he had an incredible night. And now we are passing into the overreaction phase, or just reaction phase. And I don't want to be the person that overreacts game to game during the regular season in the NBA, but we do have a lot of evidence at this point of what each team is. And my reaction to that game last night, as I'm watching it, it's an incredible performance by Milwaukee, an incredible performance by Brooklyn, is that Brooklyn is still not there. And it's not because they lost this game. Had they won this game, I still would have felt the same way. Brooklyn is not deep enough to go in a 7-game series with a team like Milwaukee. Now, that being said, I still think that the top of the East is wide open. As amazing as Giannis has been in the MVP conversation again, which is astonishing, his performance last night and how he has played throughout the season, very deserving, although I don't think he will win. They are a complete team. They are the reigning champions. They deserve the respect of that. The Nets are the 8 seed for a reason. They are not a deep team. They have been up and down with injuries all year. They've dealt with Kyrie playing half the games all year. Now, obviously, everyone is back and complete, but I don't think that they can go in a 7-game series against a team like Milwaukee. That being said, that is not an indictment of Kevin Durant. Now, my friend Nick Wright clearly feels otherwise, and he tweeted something very interesting last night. We were talking about it in the meeting and on our prep calls last night about Giannis and KD and just where the league is with who the best player in the league is right now. And Nick Wright clearly feels like Giannis has surpassed Kevin Durant. I don't know if we have his tweet. Nick tweeted, "I legit feel for KD. He had to be the second best to LeBron for a decade, and the moment he might have passed LeBron, Giannis passed him. Second player out of high school, second pick in the draft, second best player in the NBA for life, legit awful luck." Now, look, I vehemently disagree with this. There have definitely been moments, even throughout KD's career before this moment in Brooklyn, where he was the best player in the league. If I recall correctly, he did beat LeBron in a series, several of them. He is an astonishing player, and it is not an outrageous statement to say that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. Is Giannis incredible? Did he have a showcase last night? Yes. But you're splitting hairs here. It is not a for sure thing that Giannis is the best player in the NBA above Kevin Durant. On any given night, KD can do exactly what Giannis did last night. We've seen it time and time again. KD has more rings than Giannis. So, look, I'm not arguing against Giannis. I am not arguing for KD. All I'm saying is the best player in the league is not a LeBron in the field situation anymore. It is much more even than that. By the way, shout out to Danielle, who immediately got involved in that conversation, said she's on KD's side. KD did respond to it. It's a nice back and forth on Twitter if you want to check it out after the show, of course, not right now. Right now, you have to pay attention. But as amazing as that game was last night, it's not an indictment of KD. I don't think that the Nets are capable of winning a 7-game series. And that's actually a testament to KD, because as good as Kyrie is still and the contributions that they have overall, they are not a deep enough team or a strong enough team defensively to go in a 7-game series. 1-game series, a tournament style, sure. I maybe would even pick KD, but it's too much. I think that the Nets are set up for next year. If Kyrie comes back, I don't want to hear about Ben Simmons. I don't need an update on Ben Simmons. Let me know when he's ready to play. There is no point in following the Ben Simmons saga anymore. It seems endless. I'm not interested. When Ben Simmons is ready, we'll know. Until then, I'm not going to speculate. But that was an amazing game last night, a great showcase for basketball. I don't think there's anything too crazy to react to. We have enough evidence that the Nets are not very deep. They're an 8 seed for a reason. Giannis is incredible. KD's incredible. Hate to be that person. Hope both teams had fun, but you can't decidedly say that Giannis is that much better than Kevin Durant. That is an overreaction to that performance last night, as good as Giannis is. All right, well, let's transition to Bruce Arians. We got some big news yesterday. Good choice by Bruce to do this during the week and not on April Fool's, because no one would have believed him. It's a good point, Alex. You got to wait. You got to be very strategic with these things. Well, he has announced that he is retiring, and Todd Bowles is taking over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, there are a lot of theories being thrown around. Colin talked a little bit about his feelings on the matter yesterday, and there's this feeling that maybe Bruce Arians stepped aside because of some animosity with Tom Brady. I don't believe that. I just have a really hard time believing that after 20 years in New England with one of the crankiest coaches in sports outside of Greg Popovich, that he just couldn't stand another year in the sunshine with Bruce Arians. I just can't buy into that. Do I think that there was some tension? Do I think there were some butting heads? Do I think there were some differences in philosophies that needed to be sanded out? Yes, of course. But I don't also believe that all tension is bad. I think sometimes you have to have a difference of opinion. You have to have differing viewpoints in order to grow and expand and change. So I don't believe that all disagreement and all tension is bad. And I think Tom Brady probably leans into that as well, because he is somebody that constantly wants to evolve and get better. What I think is happening here is really simple. I think Tom Brady is going to retire after this year. We can now start talking about when Tom Brady's going to retire, because he already pulled the fake retirements this offseason. I think he's going to retire next year. And I think Bruce Arians is also going to retire next year. I think they're all Tom Brady hasn't, but I think Bruce Arians is telling the truth when he's saying he was going to retire next year, because he knows Tom Brady's going to retire next year. He doesn't want to continue coaching this team without Tom Brady as the quarterback. So he made an executive decision to pass the team on to Todd Bowles, which is a reflection of what he's done throughout his entire coaching career, which is look out for the people around him and elevate others. We have evidence that that's what Bruce Arians really is. So I don't think there is some big conspiracy. I don't think Tom Brady pushed Bruce Arians out. After all, Bruce Arians was the coach there when Tom Brady went there. So they had to have some kind of a relationship. So I think that Bruce Arians is telling the truth. I think it's very simple. He was going to retire next year. Brady was going to retire next year. And rather than leaving Todd Bowles with Kyle Trask and a desolate Tampa Bay team, he set him up for success for the next few years, at least beyond Brady, because they are going to be competitive and good this year. And as authentic as Bruce Arians always is, I think when he spoke about it yesterday, and you can hear in his voice how passionate he is about what he's done and what he is doing moving forward by passing the team on to Todd Bowles. This is what Bruce wanted. You could hear it in his voice, how passionate he is, how much he cares about the people around him. He is had a legacy of having diverse hires. All of his coordinators are on his team now are Black. He's elevated Todd Bowles. And the biggest thing that everyone is missing in this, outside of the fact that, it feels like there's some conspiracy going on, Todd Bowles has been a coach before. He was going to get another opportunity. Now he's in a space where he's inheriting not just a good team, the greatest player of all time. And he talked about it. He said, good players make good coaches, so you always want to have good players. I'm not going to apologize for inheriting a talented team. I've had less success with a team. It's different to the fact that I don't think I can go into this trying to be Bruce. I would fail miserably if I tried. I can be me. This is important because he shouldn't apologize for inheriting this team. But the biggest part of this to me is everyone is freaking out about him being a defensive coach. Leftwich is still there. So this is actually the best case scenario for Todd Bowles. Not only is he taking over a really talented team with Tom Brady, but Tom Brady has Leftwich. So what are we seeing with defensive coaches that have success in the NFL right now? The offensive side of the ball, taken care of. That worked pretty well with Belichick and Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels in New England. It's worked with Brian Daboll, with Buffalo and Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. When you have the offensive side of the ball taken care of with a really strong offensive coordinator that is on the same page with your quarterback, you can focus on the defensive side of the ball and be a defensive head coach. So I think this is a great scenario for everyone. I don't think it's some big conspiracy, Brady pushing him out. I think it's just a matter of Arians was going to retire next year. Why not retire now? I have my Super Bowl. My legacy is set. As he said, he doesn't care about the Hall of Fame. His legacy will be what he's done for other people, and that's always what Bruce Arians has been about.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.